Guys, this is Kush Shah, the founder of Those Bros and the Bros Creamery. And we are in conversation with the bros. I have here one of the most eligible bachelors of Ahmedabad, Ronil Patel, aka Chef Brown, who also happens to be the owner of an amazing Italian restaurant, Toroni Italian Restaurant, which is located near Shilaj. Ronil, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, bhai.
I've been thinking about doing this conversation, with some up-and-coming entrepreneurs in Ahmedabad for a long time.
Correct.
And I'm glad you took time out.
Of course.
Because you've always been on my mind since the time that I've met you 1 year ago. And you started this journey of coming back and opening Toroni in Ahmedabad and introducing people to amazing Italian food. When I keep on seeing your stories, it keeps reminding me of my younger version and the way you go about your business and promoting your business and, coming up, being so hands-on with Toroni. It really inspires me, actually. Though, I've come, long way in my journey, but I also need inspiration. And you are one of those guys, that I look up to. And I'm so proud of you that you decided to choose Ahmedabad and come back even after being in Canada and having the option of settling there. But you still decided to come back and serve your country and your community and showcase what you have learned abroad and put on a show.
Right.
Welcome to this show and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, bhai. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, brother.
Yes.
So, Ronil, I wanted to know, that what were the struggles and stuff, we were talking about that. So financially, how did you fund your business, for, entrepreneurs who want to know, who want to be in our shoes and wanting to dream about the restaurant business, how to go about funding?
To be honest, હું જ્યારે કેનેડાથી પાછો આવ્યો, I only had little bit of saving, let's say 5 lakhs only.
Sure.
And when
so
I
you
came,
can be open about the, the
right. So I basically had no investment.
Because I want our audience to know
right.
કે શું real situation on the ground શું છે, કેટલા પૈસા લાગે છે રેસ્ટોરન્ટ તે જે બનાવી છે ટોરોની એવી સરસ રેસ્ટોરન્ટ બનાવવા માટે કેટલા પૈસા લાગે છે અને how did you structure that? So someone can get an idea on what, because my journey coming back to India was very different because I was very self-funded on another level.
Correct.
But of course, when I'll come back to that, but I want to know about you. કે તારી journey માં શું challenges રહી and how did you overcome them?
Correct. So when I came back from Canada, basically I just came back with 5 lakh rupees. મારું જેટલું પણ ત્યાં બધું હતું, I donated it કે બધું, કેમ કે when I came back, I just thought a small project કે જ્યાં હું થોડાક જ લોકોને સર્વ કરું છું કે but it's a family owned restaurant જ્યાં મારા parents be involved છે because my mom always wanted to work. So came back.
Your mom is helping you as well?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So every day
I didn't know that.
Right.
Amazing, bro.
Every day she comes in and she does the cashier. She loves it. She's like, હું પૈસા ગણીશ. But yeah, initially જ્યારે પાછો આવ્યો તો મેં તમને કીધું કે I was in Miami. I did the catering for my mama and all.
Right.
So they are nicely settled in America. Been there for 20 years now. So I asked for, I had 2 masis and masa over there. My mom's side is very helpful. So I just asked them, if I go back to India and start up something of my own, would you like to help in?
Sure.
So they're like, yeah, here and there. So everybody gave in 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. So मैं मारो project within 50 lakhs wrap up करवानो विचार्यो तो.
Sure.
Once I got in, પછી મેં બધું જ કહ્યું કે friends and family માં પૂછ્યું કે interior designer હોય કે ભાઈ references.
Sure.
And my dad, his business is not doing well right now. So he's almost wrapping up. He's retired.
Sure.
But he had good contacts. So through him, I met this interior designer. No doubt he charged everything, but everybody understood the assignment કે ભાઈ આને બધું સસ્તામાં અને સરસ બનાવવાનું છે. તો એ રીતે જ અમે બધી વસ્તુ મેં અલગ અલગ જગ્યાએ સોર્સ કરી કે એક જ વસ્તુ ભલે ને લેવાની હોય પણ મેં 4 જગ્યાએ ભાવ કઢાયા કે 4 જણને મળ્યો, બધા જોડે વાતો કરી કે મારે આ રીતનું પ્રોજેક્ટ છે, ભલે લોકોએ ના પાડી નહીં ચાલે whatsoever. But once I got in, ધીરે ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ વધતું ગયું just because to be convenient. અને મેં 3 મહિનામાં તો મારી રેસ્ટોરન્ટ ચાલુ કરી દીધી.
Wow.
કે I didn't even waste single time કે હું પાછો આવ્યો કેમ કે જોયું મેં બધા કરી રહ્યા છે and it's the right time.
Sure. To enter the market.
Yeah. કે રિવર્સ ઇમિગ્રેશન પણ હું આવ્યો એના પછી તમે માનશો નહીં કેટલા લોકો પાછા આવી ગયા છે અને who comes in at Toroni and says કે ભાઈ you were an inspiration that I came back
Amazing.
at some point.
Wow.
So that makes me like
That's
proud
huge.
at some day
That's
as well.
huge.
Yeah.
Of course, you should be proud for what you're doing.
Yes, thank you. But
And
like,
you know, I feel like very young entrepreneurs have the balls. વિચારે છે બધા જ. હું મારા
Right.
જેટલા બી ફ્રેન્ડ્સ છે, અમેરિકા રહે છે, કેનેડા રહે છે, બધાને ઇન્ડિયા તો આવું જ છે પાછા.
right.
Because at the end of the day, bro, you know, that is where you grew up. Tamari language, tamara
Correct.
loco,
Hmm.
you know, somewhere or the other, psychologically, it definitely plays a role.
It does.
But, you know, very few people have the courage to come back and be successful and do something about it.
Correct.
And I'm glad that you're a doer.
Yes.
And, you know, I think people should learn a lesson out of that.
Right.
Okay, you should believe in doing things in life. You know, don't be a thinker.
Correct.
You know, make sure you do it. And, you know, then you learn, you live and you learn. And then, you know, you're going to figure it out. You know,
And
life is beautiful.
Be raw, to be honest. Like, I had no plans of coming back. કે કોણ વિચારે કે આટલા પૈસા તમે નાખ્યા છે અને તમે એ કન્ટ્રી છોડીને without PR કે citizenship, I gave up on it at some point because I was there for 7 years, but I went there at 17, so I didn't have the points that were required for immigration. So at some point, when I gave up everything, it took me a lot of courage and endless sleepless night. Like મહિના સુધી હું શું નામ રાખીશ, શું વેચીશ, મેં આટલું બધું રિસર્ચ કર્યું અને પછી મેં મારી ટિકિટ બુક કરાવી કે ભાઈ
Wow.
I just didn't came back and then started it up. કે બહુ પ્લાન કર્યું મેં આખી I used to write down diaries and diaries on my Mac, on my iPad કે ભાઈ how it's all going to work down. અને એ રીતે જ ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ જ્યારે મેં આ પ્રોજેક્ટ સ્ટાર્ટ કર્યો I had nothing in my bank account. બટ જસ્ટ હોપ કે ભાઈ ક્યાંકથી આવી જશે ને ક્યાંકથી સોર્ટ આઉટ થઈ જશે અને ગ્રેજ્યુઅલી ટચવુડ કે ટાઈમ સાથે સાથે બધું થતું ગયું એન્ડ યા લાઈક year and half passed out. I almost paid off my debt કે now I'm living a good life where I don't have to think about spending on a coffee because in Canada every night I used to go on my bank account
True.
and see કે મારા પૈસા ક્યાં ગયા બટ apparently ટચવુડ હવે મારે જોવું નથી પડતું કે I have 30 employees
Wow.
right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, in a year,
And I see a lot of young guys, you know, that are up and coming, working in your team as well.
Right.
You know, I've seen a lot of guys, you know. So how are you sourcing these guys?
Instagram.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm being raw on my Instagram. કે ભાઈ લોકો જોવે છે કે what I'm doing.
So guys, this is something new, you know, to learn as well because I was actually listening to this one reel of Zomato as well and how Zomato's out of the box branding is helping them source some amazing talent.
Oh yes.
So social media these days has become a full stop for, I feel, almost everything.
100%.
And, you know, honestly, you know, if it wasn't for social media, you know, I wouldn't be sitting with him as well.
Exactly.
Because, you know, I wouldn't know what he's doing day in, day out.
Correct.
So even for hiring as well, not only just marketing, but even for hiring, social media is
Everything.
an amazing platform.
Oh yeah. I get messages from everywhere. Dubai, Pakistan, okay, want to work with you. Well, if you want to grow here or start a franchise in Surat, Bombay.
I'm
So, like-
jealous. એવું તો મારી જોડે નથી થતું. So I'm jealous.
You're already there, bhai. You're already there. But yeah, so it's good
And
that
also you're in a more glamorous, fine dine, you know, beautiful looking plates. You know, more setup. You know, I'm more into QSR, you know,
Correct,
more day-to-day casual stuff.
correct.
But yeah, dude, you know, I want you to get in QSR one day.
One day, man. I
'Cause,
want to do pizza by slice, man. It's all
yep,
over
yep.
Italy. I went to Italy and I figured કે ભાઈ અહીંયા લોકોને એવું છે કે pizza is unhealthy, મહિને એક જ વાર ખવાય. But
Right.
no, like they don't know it's made out of semolina, it's highest protein, કે એના ingredients પણ આટલા સારા છે. So that's what I'm educating Ahmedabadis as well. Whenever they come
Amazing.
in,
Wow.
I go to the table, I tell them કે they are like કે ભાઈ આ પાસ્તા કેમ આટલા કડક છે. But they don't know that the pasta is made in the restaurant.
Sure.
It's not just opened from a packet and put it in the boiler. But I got the machine from Italy. કે મેં એ machine પર કામ કરેલું છે. That's why I was able to get it here. So yeah, like every day somebody comes in, they're like, hey, I want to start this restaurant.
So that's a challenge with my mom as well. Me and my mom, you know, like
Right.
same thing with her.
Right.
She does not like the al dente pasta.
Right,
And I
right.
feel that 70% of Ahmedabad, I feel, or maybe more, would be like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because આપણા લોકોને પેલું ખીચડી અને પેલું ઢીલું થોડું રોટલી ને એવું ખાવાનું.
એ બી-
એટલે to have that zing on that pasta, people don't like that. So
and also what everybody is serving here is what
so તું બનાવે છે પછી do you like if the customers ask I want it well done, do you guys cater to that
like
those needs?
at some point, because like our pastas are fresh, right? So if you overboil it, it's gonna just go down
Crumble.
in the
Okay.
yeah.
Sure,
So
that
I have
makes
to,
sense.
Yeah, but I still keep it to a consistency where they are satisfied and
અમારા
I am
લોકોને
satisfied.
કોફીમાં એવું થાય છે બ્રોસ ક્રીમરીમાં.
Right.
So we serve international temperature, which is lukewarm.
Correct.
Because what happens is the coffee molecules, they don't break. And it keeps the coffee more creamy.
Correct.
Cappuccino ne badane creamy rakhe.
Right,
But
right,
then you
right.
have customers, they are like, thandi api je mane. And then once you, because cha pita ho ene ye temperature pe
Piping
boiling
hot jo
karo.
hai. Yeah.
So the milk is gonna break
Flat.
the molecules.
Yeah, yeah.
So then it's gonna become very thin.
Correct.
And creaminess jati rehse. But you know, customer is God.
Also,
Ye je
cappuccino
ke-
has to be 90 degrees only.
That's true.
That's
so.
But yeah, but we are doing a good thing for Ahmedabad. We're educating, we're giving them good products. So I think...
And that actually, bro, you know, you brought up a great point. Because, you know, when I did Dose Bros and took that risk, the whole odds were against us in Ahmedabad.
Right.
Our identified market was Bangalore. Bangalore is most apt for US-based concepts. And, you know, there's spending power is more. There's a lot of young people, a lot of expats, a lot of American culture there. But we went against our gut because I wanted the youth of Ahmedabad to experience this international concept.
Right.
So as a student like me and you went abroad, when I went there, I was really lost in the restaurants that I used to go. Kya quick serve restaurant and fast food restaurant su che?
Right.
At that time, you know, we didn't have so many McDonald's and all these American concepts weren't so apt and available.
Correct.
So you would go in and you'll be like, kya kevi rite order karvanu, su order karvanu. So that also love was there to launch our brand and to educate our
Correct.
customers and educate the youth of what is happening internationally.
Exactly.
Same with my Bros Creamery concept as well. So I feel like, you know, we need a lot more young entrepreneurs like you know, who are coming in and sticking to their vision of single cuisine and doing it at 100%. Because I feel like there's a lack of a good Mediterranean restaurant in Ahmedabad. There are a couple of good handful concepts
Right.
which are doing really well. But I feel like, you know, there's not an abundance like Asian concepts. Asian food has been taken off really well. You know, we have 6-7 amazing Asian restaurants in Ahmedabad.
Right.
But, you know, I still feel like, you know, with more entrepreneurs joining this, the food also needs to become more reasonable and more affordable for the middle classes as well.
Correct.
Because Asian restaurants માં આપણે જોઈએ તો બધી જ high end છે.
True.
બધા 1,000-1,500 per person spend ઉપર ની છે.
Yes.
So I feel Asian cuisine is a brilliant cuisine, you know, because a lot of people are moving away from North Indian. You know, they are wanting to stay away from gluten.
Correct.
Just because, not because they're not able to digest gluten or they don't love gluten, but the quality of gluten that we are getting is highly, you know, they're using high amount of pesticides and it's not natural. તમે ગામડામાં જઈને રોટલી ખાઓ, dude, I usually eat 2 or 3 rotis normal day.
Right.
ગામડામાં I can eat 6, 7, 8 chapatis.
Right.
So, dude, the quality is just par none. અને એ ingredients Ahmedabadમાં some reason આપણને available નથી.
I mean,
અને
sorry to break you.
No, go ahead.
At some point available પણ છે, પણ પબ્લિકને સસ્તું જોઈએ છે. So if you are expecting
That's true.
કે you want a pasta for 300 rupees or 400 rupees, you are comparing with other places.
Right.
But the semolina that I'm getting from Italy or the machine that I have, the labor that goes in, it's not valued.
True.
But now that people are breaking the chain, people are understanding that bhai, it has to be a right amount. And to be honest, the numbers that I've done in a year, like, it's crazy. Ahmedabad support, it's crazy. Like, I'm glad whatever's happening right now. But because of this, people
So,
are...
what was your total project cost, if you don't mind sharing that?
Like, after to be getting involved in this, I think I've been still paying for things like getting coolers or what's a
No,
maintenance.
but total, you know, by the time you got started,
I think under a CR.
under a CR.
Under a CR, yes.
And what is your rent? What is your monthly rent?
My rent is very minimal just because I saw this property and after that I've been in around 100 locations in Ahmedabad. मैं બધા જ એરિયામાં I've met people also કે ભાઈ મારે ક્યાં કરવી જોઈએ restaurant આમ તેમ. But the place that I got in that was the first location. પણ એનાથી positivity જે આવી હતી.
Sure.
અને મારા માઇન્ડમાં જે કોન્સેપ્ટ હતો કે મારે થોડું rooftop જોઈએ છે, મારે થોડું private
The kind of, yeah. Your rooftop is beautiful, by the way. You've
Thank
done
you.
a great job.
Thank you.
I love that outdoor space. And then what about what's your labor cost like? What's your average labor cost? કેટલા percentage હશે? તારી salary કેટલી થાય છે? 2 lakh, 5 lakh?
Depend કરે છે કેમ કે I have been rotating employees like crazy. કેમ
But
કે
on average શું રહે છે salary?
4 lakh જેવું રહે. પણ of course, if you want to get like આમાં જ
So I
am
would say
here-
roughly around 10%, 8 to 10%
Yeah.
of your
Yes.
annual sales, that your monthly sales that you're bringing in.
Correct. But yeah, so that's just because that I am showing up every day.
Sure.
Let's say if I'm not there, I would have to get people who are 40K a month or 50K. But
Sure.
top notch that I have is
You are the most prized employee. Let's say that.
Yeah, but people, what they're doing right now when they're opening a restaurant, they get chefs from anywhere.
Sure.
એમના ખભે મૂકીને બંદૂક ફોડે છે. પછી શેફને ખબર પડી ગઈ કે ભાઈ આ તો મારા વગર ચાલશે નહીં કે
That's correct.
whatsoever. અને
And
મારા
Ronil very truly said, 99.9 restaurants ની આ જ story છે કે once the chefs get acclimated to the
Right.
atmosphere and the customers
Right.
and the job they're doing, pachi they definitely flex their muscles around.
Of course, and that's natural, but you have to treat them in a
And
way.
that is the reason that I emphasized that is so important in our industry to be a hands-on owner. That કાલ ઉઠીને તમારો કોઈ બી માણસ ના આવ્યો
Yep.
તો તમને જાતે એ વસ્તુ બનાવતા આવડવી જોઈએ.
Exactly.
Or else you're going to be slave to your team.
True. Like
So that also is a very important part.
there are times where my dad is washing the glasses, my mom is refilling the water, I am even doing dishes. કે એક જ્યારે હોલી હતી ત્યારે જે ડુંગરપુરનો અમારો ડિશવોશરનો સ્ટાફ છે બધા જતા રહ્યા. Like literally. But I cannot shut down the place or tell somebody else to do dishes. It has to be me.
Sure.
As long as I am available. So like never say no. To be honest, that's my thing since day one. મેં એટલું સાફ સફાઈ કરી હશે ને કે જેની કોઈ હદ નથી. But everything's paying off. Touch wood.
અને guys, when he's talking about all this stuff કે સાફ સફાઈ ને બધું, તો અમારી લોકોની જર્નીની અંદર જ્યારે અમે ઇન્ડિયાથી અબ્રોડ ગયા તો અમારે પોતું બી કરવું પડ્યું છે, ઝાડુ બી મારવું પડ્યું છે,
Yes.
બર્તન વાસણો બી કરવા પડ્યા છે
બધું.
અને ટોયલેટ બી સાફ કરવા પડ્યા છે.
Yes.
અને so it sort of really humbles you
It
in your
humbles
journey.
you down. Yes.
That dude, no matter who you are or where you come from, it is really important to be treated as a nobody. But when you grow up in the atmosphere that you sort of live in
Right.
and you're comfortable in, you tend to take things for granted.
Correct.
But જ્યારે આ બધું વસ્તુઓ થાય છે લાઈફમાં, આવા એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ થાય છે, when there is no people around to judge you or know you, તો તમે કામ કરી શકો છો.
Exactly.
પણ તમારા ઓળખીતા જો આવી જાય આજુબાજુ, then you are like કે bro હું આ કામ ના કરું, આ ના કરું.
Right.
But that is true, bro. And same with my journey as well. અહીંયા ઇન્ડિયામાં હોય કે ગમે ત્યાં હોય, I've had times when my because ઇન્ડિયામાં બહુ હિડન હાયરાર્કી હોય છે કે મારો કેપ્ટન હોય કે વેઇટર હોય તો એ પેલો જે મારો હાઉસકીપિંગ વાળો હોય એનું કામ નહીં કરે, એ ટોયલેટ ક્લીન નહીં કરે, એ સ્વીપિંગ નહીં કરે.
Right.
So I have to jump in.
Of course.
And once there was a problem with a customer who had spoiled the toilet, એમને dietary issues થયા છે, diarrhea, આખો મેસ હતો. Bro, my guys were refusing અને મારો હાઉસકીપર આવ્યો નતો. My restaurant was on. I went and cleaned that and set an example for my team.
Exactly.
That no task is small.
Exactly.
And you have to do what is right for the business and what is required at the time.
Yes.
So that is really important as an entrepreneur. તમે આ બધું જો bifurcate કરવા જશો તો bro, you will never see success.
Exactly. એટલે હું પણ like કંઈ પણ કામ હોય તો I show them how it's done. Even if it's mopping or sweeping.
And if you have not really walked in their shoes of your team on each small task that they're doing, you are never going to know their struggles.
And you're not gonna
if you don't
respect
know their
them.
struggles, you are never going to be able to become a good leader.
Correct.
Because you can only lead well when you know the strengths and weaknesses of each individual of your team.
True.
You are only as good as the weakest person in your team.
Correct.
I am a true believer in that saying.
Oh yes.
So, I feel, this is, it's a very fun conversation, with where we are going. How do you feel now, after, living in India, living in Canada, coming back here? What do you feel? How accomplished or how do you feel every day?
To be honest, I just turned 25 in February. And I think everything is just unreal what's happening. And I think there is something written for me that I have to see in the near future if I keep on going in such a pace, if I get involved this much only with my team or whatsoever. But I think the Canadian exposure that I got was 100% necessary.
Wow.
Like, I am telling people or young entrepreneurs who want to move into this industry, go outside, go out of your comfort zone and see how it's done. Like, you need to be in somebody's shoes. You need to be the cleaner, you need to be the dishwasher just for a certain period of time, just so you can make a whole environment or a community what you're trying to do. Much you cannot just have your dad spending 1 CR and like, hey, I'll get a chef, I know how it's done, I can do good social media. Social media is not just everything also. it can bring you down. You're seeing the examples what everybody is doing.
True, that's right.
Ke
It's a mix of everything. It's a mix
Exactly.
of combined efforts.
Correct. You can get support, but you can get a hell of support as well. Like,
True.
like yesterday, so basically I just did a small gesture. There was someone sitting alone doing a solo dine-in. So I just offered a tiramisu on the house just as a gesture.
Sure.
Because I have been to places where I was alone and dining alone. So
Right,
I respect that it takes
Sure,
jigro.
yeah.
So
You need to be comfortable with yourself
Exactly.
to go and dine alone.
True.
And these days, not a lot of people are comfortable doing that.
Exactly. That's why I also have the chef bar where you can come in alone, you sit there, you talk with the chefs, but have a good time at the restaurant. And after a week, I received this big of a painting, which she drew it for me as a good gesture,
Wow.
just over a tiramisu.
That's amazing.
So I mean that all makes me excited to go back to work every day. I get all kind of flowers, small presents. Like people are supporting what I'm doing right now.
Sure.
So yeah, like if you be real to your like audience, they are gonna be definitely standing with you.
How did you fall in love with food?
With food.
Growing up, you said, that I really was cooking and everything.
Right.
So I want to understand, and I want the audience to know as well, like what was
Right.
it that...
I mean, to be honest, see, my whole family can cook. My parents, they can cook so nicely. Like, I think it's in my genes at some
Sure.
point. Like, my mom, she's very famous for her undiyu. Like, everybody, whenever she makes undiyu, she has to make it for 50 people.
Wow.
Like, pura tiffin bhar ke sab leke jata hai. Even with my dad. He loves cooking outdoors. So, whenever we are at whatever farmhouses or whatever picnics we are, he used to cook. So, I was always intrigued ke bhai kya kar rahe hai. I was always looking ke bhai what is the process, ye wo. But yeah, I think it's in my genes only, bro. The love for cooking.
So for me, my mom used to always make me sit on the kitchen platform
Okay.
and make me do my homework.
Okay.
So I would be doing my homework and just watching her.
Right.
And, just came from a foodie family.
Right.
And always used to eat out very frequently. My
Correct.
mom is an amazing cook as well.
Right.
My dad loves to eat outside,
Right.
and there will always be farsan at our home, every afternoon.
Right.
When he's coming back from office, he'll always bring something, interesting.
Correct.
So my love, started like that with food. And then, especially, once I started in my teens, driving the, Activa and stuff,
Right.
then going to Lari and everything.
Correct.
And Lari par pelo manas banauto hai. So, that sort of, like always used to fascinate me, putting the show on and how delicious it tastes. So I was curious to actually know, like how did you fall in love
Right.
with cooking and, just, falling in love with the industry?
Right.
But let's take back a notch and let's talk about how was it, when you initially shifted to Canada? How was it like, how did you settle in? What was your experience? How long did it take for you to find a job? And, just get acquainted, with the new circle of friends? Or did you know someone there?
Right.
Or, how, I want to know a little more about that.
Correct. So I was in Windsor. Basically, it's like 300 kilometers from Toronto. So when I was in Windsor, basically, I was just 17 by like, I was literally depressed. I was staying in a basement and I was crying all the nights. Ke bhai, where am I? Because here all my friends and like, badda chill kare de, badda ne. Like I was the first one to move out. And
Sure.
when I went to Canada, there were like 60 people who came to see me off at the airport. And like we did a
Wow.
farewell. Like my favorite thing is bread thota.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
Yep.
So
I
we
still
arranged-
love it.
Yeah.
With that akhu lasan. and that.
Right. So that's what we arranged for like everybody. Like even at 2 a.m. there were so many people to drop me off. But there was such a huge change. Like I thought it's just gonna be fine. But like the moment you land there, you are disconnected with everything.
True.
And yeah, at some point I was trying to come back to India. But then one of my friend, he was in Toronto, was like a family friend. He said, કે અહીંયા પણ આવી રીતે કુકિંગનો કોર્સ થાય છે and one of my roommates has started this. So if you want to talk to her, this and that. And that's how I got to know about culinary basically. And so these guys helped me out with looking up the courses, not with the admissions, but they're like, tu aayi ja khali and then we will figure out.
So what kind of family background do you come from as well? I think, people would love to know if you come,
Right.
if you come from a really wealthy family or, how was the journey of, because I know for me, I came from a middle class family.
Right.
And, my dad, had saved up a small sum of money to send me to US.
Correct.
And similar like you, same thing. I left at 17 as well.
Okay.
And, cried in the basement. I lived with some relatives.
Right.
But I think my sports journey, growing up as an athlete, that really helped me not giving up. No
Correct.
matter how tough the situation got, I was like, I'm always going to win and then go back.
Right.
So I really want to know, financially, how was it, for you? Were you already, well off, or, your tuition was paid off? For me, my parents were only able to pay the first year. Then I was on my own.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So for me, I also went on loans basically. We are like, that moment we were lower middle class. Like even me and my sister, we both were trying to get abroad. So of course my dad could not fund this much money. And the main thing to leave computer science was that I figured out it was 4 years. Like initially तो mom dad कीधु के तू भण बेटा तू जे कहीं समय करीशु and of course that's so sweet of them, they were supportive. પણ હું જ્યારે ત્યાં ગયો and I realized I'm going to pay $120,000 for my 4-year like bachelor's. That's when I was shook because everybody was there for masters. Even if you go for universities, it has to be for masters because nobody can pay this much amount.
Sure.
Like whenever you're going to recover the money, ત્યાં સુધી તો but yeah, like the main thing was like money for me. કે ભાઈ હું 4 વર્ષનો કોર્સ તો હું કઈ રીતે અને Windsor is where it was very hard to find a job. But still I got into a factory. મેં ત્યાં 2-3 દિવસ કામ પણ કર્યું factory ની અંદર. But it was બહુ બધું hassle હતું. You have to take a bus, company's bus, take you 2 hours outside the city. ત્યાં તમારે કામ કરવાનું. And I thought કે ભાઈ I can never pay my tuition from this. તો my parents ને પણ મેં એ પણ સમજાવ્યું કે પણ they were like supportive કે આપણું આખું family US છે, they will help you out, and my mama and all, they were ready to do the funds.
So that pressure was always on the
since
back of your head, just like me.
Right.
I always, had that challenge that if I want to survive in US,
Right.
तो પછી મારે કંઈક તો કામ કે કંઈક, I need to
Exactly.
find something, and, I need to self-support myself
Exactly.
right away.
Right.
And, I've had some summers, where I worked 3 jobs, 100
Right.
hours in a week,
Correct.
sleeping 3-4 hours a day, working 3 different shifts. So I think, that sort of, I think it prepares you for this entrepreneurial journey.
Correct.
And that embeds that attitude in you of never giving up, no matter how tough the situation gets.
Exactly.
And, I feel like with me, not only that, but I was also very motivated in terms of materialistic things as well. I always like good things.
Correct.
So I always wanted to own expensive things, so that kept me going. So I feel like it's really important to have that driver in you, because or else, if you have a huge saving in your bank account, if I have 3, 4, 5 crores or
Right.
10 crores or 50 lakhs sitting in my account, then I don't have the motivation.
You're not
I
going to
only-
go to the extent.
Yeah, I only get motivated when I feel there's a lack of something in my
Correct.
life. Then I'm
Right.
gonna, sort of be intrigued to push myself and
True.
push myself to the extra limit.
Right, right.
So when did the thought of entrepreneurship come in your head?
After the thing I mentioned about Florida, after I did the catering event, I thought, even in Canada, I have always, like, whenever I was in the kitchen or somebody's next to me working, I'll be like, bro, we can sell this, we can make money out of this, we can do that. I also at some point rented a place which has a nice garage, so I was thinking to start my catering from there. Just cause no money, so
Sure.
of course you have to start from the base bottom. But then, like, we all moved to Florida. Like, even my parents were there. But my mama has a creamery there, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he does the Cold Stone ice creams. So I worked there for some time, like, just to get hands on it, like how it works. And then I moved back to Toronto. But my mom, she was there for 2 more months. And I used to see her in an apron, in a cap, working. And even, like, we used to do video calls because the same timings were there, right? Canada and America. So we used to video call, and she's like, hey, we can sell waffles in India. And I knew at some point that I don't want to bring them here and put them under an apron at 50 years old. So I was like, that's not happening. But, like, even if we are going to do something, it has to be in India, just because I could not survive the cold, first of all. Because after working in the industry, I've been in the walk-in coolers or freezers for, like, hours, like, putting on things. So at some point I got this, okay, even if I leave the house, I am shaking. Even if I have 2-3 jackets on, this or that, I got like 15 kgs weight loss just because extra working hours and all. So yeah, I got fired at 2 places as well just because I was eating a meal there which wasn't punched in the system. But there were crazy stories but at the end I realized...
I remember those days, man. We used to, like, steal food, like,
Yeah,
just
I mean...
and, just working because, growing up, had a huge appetite. Used to
Correct.
work out a lot, work all day.
Right.
I needed 6, 7, 8 meals a day. I used to eat like a
Right.
horse back in the days.
Right.
And you can't afford, I was working in a fine dine restaurant.
Exactly.
Meals are fucking expensive.
True.
And, it was like, dude, you got to sneak some food here and there.
Yeah.
And then, that's what happens. You get caught and then you get
Yeah,
fired.
I know.
Looking for another job.
Correct. But my situation was when I was with this Olive Garden, so I went there for my immigrations basically. I have to work there for a year and then that's how my immigrations gonna get sorted. But after working for a year and a half, these guys, they promoted me to the culinary profession. I had 35 people working under me.
Wow.
There. So they were like, you are allowed to eat whatever you want, this and that. And then suddenly they're like, you are eating this, but it's not punched in the system. And then, so yeah, we have to fire you. Like, it was very, like, મને તો ખબર જ નથી કે કેવી રીતે આ લોકોએ બધું કર્યું.
Man.
પણ so their regional team was coming from Florida. So they had to show that they have to fire certain people. So એક સાથે એ લોકોએ 7-8 જણને fire કરી દીધા.
That's strange.
They didn't
Wow.
had any explanation
Yeah.
just because earlier they gave written notices about
Right,
things.
right.
So they're like, we already give you 2 written notices, not for the food, but
Sure.
other things.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's how, like, I think
But I think
failures
that struggle, I think, shapes us who
are.
we
It does.
Because a lot of people just see the lifestyle that we live,
Correct.
or the Instagram profile, or
Right.
the persona that we carry.
Right.
But that all confidence, I think, comes from the hustle and the struggle
It does.
and the hard times.
Correct.
So I feel, like, they say that failure is a stepping stone to success.
100%.
And I believe in that 100%, that without failure, I would not have been able to sustain my success for almost a decade now.
Right.
Because it teaches you the hard things, teaches you who the real people around you are,
Right.
where you're going in life. It makes you rethink your whole process.
True.
And that change, I think it's very important in shaping you as an entrepreneur
Correct.
and making you bigger on a platform where you can sustain that success for a long time. Because I feel, being a successful entrepreneur is just not for us.
Right.
It's not just an individual. We are supporting a team.
We are.
Today, I have more than 700-800 employees in my brand
Wow.
that, we are supporting their families, and every decision that I make impacts them directly or indirectly.
100%.
So I have to be very mindful, in taking those decisions of, what small things are going to impact my team.
Correct.
And without my team, I'm zero. And I'm
Definitely.
sure you would agree with that. That without our team, it would not be possible for us to be where we are.
Oh yes, bro. You have been the role model or an inspiration since the day I came back.
Thank you, man.
But always wanted to know, like, how did you start your first Dose Bros, or like, how did it happen?
So, bro, Dose Bros actually started in 2015.
Okay.
And of course, I was in a lot of debt, and dire need of money, and trying to make it, live that American dream. Being there, I was there for almost. I shifted back from India in 2012,
Okay.
and in 2013, I started with a frozen yogurt store, with all the savings that I had from the initial years, and the yogurt store tanked. Like we almost invested $400,000 in it.
Okay.
And did good for the first couple of months, and then it just tanked. Like, the sales just dipped. Monsoon came, a lot of rain. I was having days where we're doing damn $50, $60 in sale every day. Pachi
Right.
winter ayu. Winters mato or severe, it snowed, where we lived. I was living down south in Tennessee.
Okay.
It doesn't snow much there, but it had to snow the first year that I started my frozen yogurt store. So, man, it was just, bro, from being a corporate employee, managing 600-700 people, and going down to having just 2 employees in my store with me. Dude, I was depressed as hell. Like, having, financially struggling, just sort of, trying to figure out, like, if I'm really made up to be an entrepreneur,
Right.
or, what, શું થઈ રહ્યું છે આ? From being, a corporate employee making 6-figure salary to now, losing everything. And bro, I just went through a roller coaster. My confidence was gone. And it was just down to my support system. When you're down, having the true set of friends around you, your strong family members, I think that's what sort of helped me rise back up, and finding the right partners in life. My brother Ronil Patel, who's a co-founder of the brand, he was a massive support.
Right.
So, man, just, investing in the right set of people as well is really important. And, he kept on pushing me that, bro, you are meant to be an entrepreneur. He loved my yogurt store. It
Right.
was in a wrong location. I really, man, there was one lesson that I learned in my life was you can have a great concept, you can have a great product, but a wrong location
It's gonna kill it.
can kill you.
Right.
And I would say that is very true for United States. But I also want to compliment you because when I met you, and we discussed, because I usually, when I go for my businesses, I go for the star locations.
Correct.
I like spending big on real estate, getting top of the line real estate. And that's where you were different because you went for a space which was a bit off market and also really reasonable in rent. So, when we had met up, we discussed about that a little bit.
Right.
But, India, I feel, with the kind of demographic that we have and the kind of access that people have here, I think it's a bit different. So, I want to tell that to the, buzzing entrepreneurs or, the people who are watching this as well,
Right.
that thought process for US and for India are quite different.
It is.
I've seen some guys, especially you, Kishan from Chow Pizzeria, and a couple of other people, who are doing really amazing at off locations.
Correct.
But you guys are giving a great product. You guys, have a great price point, which is really important in Ahmedabad or in India.
Right.
The customers, price, I think it's important anywhere, even in US or anywhere. But I really want to compliment you guys on that, the way you guys have established it at, I would not say A+, but an A or a B location. But you guys have done a phenomenal job, and I feel like, that, especially in our industry, the rent factor of having ground floor locations
It's crazy.
plays a key role in the failures of a lot of restaurants going out of business. I was reading some data where, 90% of the restaurants are not even surviving for the first year.
Yes. Yes.
And I
yes.
feel like the major reason for that is by the time that they're open, they're already over budget. So they're already in debt. And the next thing, the worst thing that you can do is they're not funded for the next 6 months. You need to have that runway for the next 6 months to feed your business, to figure out, what the pros and cons are,
Correct.
to get the feedback from your customers of what is working, what is not working, to have that runway for marketing, to have that runway for staff turnover, to have that runway to pay that rent, when your sales are not going up to the mark. So tell me a little bit about that as well. I want to know from you. But let me finish off on the Dose Bros that it started, after this whole journey and this whole process. I finally decided that let's do something. I had to reverse engineer my thought process. So I was like, fuck the passion. I need to focus on money.
Correct.
And money was coming in the Mexican industry. So just like Punjabi is North Indian food is very prevalent in India,
Correct.
Mexican food is very prevalent in United States.
Oh yes.
So I was like, who is the best in Mexican? And then I found Chipotle was the answer to that. And I started researching Chipotle and I was like, I'm going to make a better version of my brand than Chipotle. And that is how Dose Bros was born in 2015. And
Right.
we founded the brand in Cleveland, Tennessee. That's our hometown where it opened. Then we expanded. Cleveland was like Gandhinagar to Ahmedabad. And then I was living in Chattanooga, which is like Ahmedabad. And then we opened 6 locations in Chattanooga.
Okay.
And that's when the brand started taking off. And
That's
of course, now
commendable,
we are operating in 3 countries with 50 plus locations, US, India, and Canada.
Crazy.
And, very grateful to God and the people around me that have believed in me to, be here. And my team, of course, I'm nothing without my staff and my team and, our beloved customers as well. So, want to really, I really feel grateful and humbled
Oh no, hats off, man.
when I walk in
Crazy.
my restaurants. And still even today, bro, I'm a very simple guy, when it comes down to, what I love and not. And I feel like when I hang out with people, when I go to my stores and when I hear them compliment my food or our brand, or I go to a party, someone's eaten my food, that really helps me sleep well at night.
Oh yeah.
And I think, man, that just keeps me going, So, that's pretty much been the journey, with Dose Bros.
Right. No, that's commendable, man. Like what you're doing right now, I think I look myself somewhere where you are in like near future, where I'm, driving in my Rover. I already told you that
That's
one
true.
day.
That's true. It'll happen, man. You
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I feel like you should aim for the stars.
Correct.
And you'll end up on the moon. So your dream, you need to dream and share those dreams with people.
Oh yeah.
That should make them laugh.
Correct.
That's a real dream. I feel.
Yeah. So also, yeah, sorry to cut you off, but like when I started Toroni, like to work on Toroni, anywhere I used to go, they're like, "Ah, nahi chale. Ah, nahi chale." Like even I made risotto for my family
Sure.
first time, just because
Sure.
they're like, "Tu kaik to banai na khawda hai ki tu su vechis." But I told them that it has to be done in a certain way, where it has to be prepped in a certain way, ke ingredients this and that. I made the risotto for my family. They're like, "આ તો નહીં જ ચાલે, આમાં ઇન્ડિયન કંઈક કરવું પડશે, ઇન્ડિયન કંઈક કરવું પડશે." અને બહુ ટાઈમ થઈ ગયો પણ they are not accepting what I am trying to do. I used to go for kitchen equipments. They're like, I want to do homemade pastas. They're like, it's not possible. You need to do this. I'm like, પહેલેથી જ મને નેગેટિવ આમાં બહુ જ.
Sure.
But I was very focused because I have worked at many places and I used to work at a chef bar basically for 2 years. So I used to see each and every reaction of the customer after they eat the pasta that I have been prepping all
Sure.
day.
Sure.
So I knew that at some point Indians are going to love this because I also served too many Indians in Canada also.
Wow.
So yeah, but I've always worked for non-vegetarian restaurants for 7 years. But coming back, I'm like, even if I want to do something here,
I was the one who actually told you
told
that,
me.
bro, you gotta do non-veg,
I
you know?
I know.
Because I'm a hardcore non-vegetarian.
Of course, yeah.
And I was like, man, it breaks my heart because, you know, another good restaurant that I really
Right.
like is KS as well.
Right.
They're
It's
pure
also-
vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you know, whenever I see your stories and I see your reels, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna non-veg kya khawda house.
Right.
And guys, a really important lesson to learn here, you know, with what he shared is of course, I feel like you have to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. Je
Right.
ganda hoy age
Correct.
crazy successful business owners bani shake je.
Right.
But also, you know, you have to be very focused on your vision. And especially in today's day and age, I'm a big believer of doing 10 things at 100% rather than doing 100 things at 10%.
Correct.
And I keep on repeating this in the interviews and the podcasts that I've done because I want the young entrepreneurs or the young people who are trying to get into business to understand that the restaurant business, especially majority of the restaurants that are failing, are multi-cuisine restaurants.
100%.
કે જે લોકોના મેન્યુમાં 100 આઈટમ ઉપર હોય છે
Right.
અને એક આઈટમ બી ઢંગની નથી હોતી.
Exactly.
So I rather serve 5 items, but that be the bestest of the best that I can,
Correct.
rather than give 50 options and do a mediocre or a half-ass job on those items. So I think that is really important. And make sure you stick to your goal or your vision that you have.
Correct.
Because, you know, there's going to be a lot of people, you know, a lot of opinions being thrown.
Oh yeah.
And also, you know, I actually, you know, with my journey, because I deal with a lot of investors as well, you know, trying to grow my brand and bring in funding and bring in different partners, a lot of people sometimes over-analyze too much. They, you know, and I feel like, you know, there's a really good saying, over-analysis leads to paralysis.
Right.
And I think it's very true.
True.
So, you know, I am a very different kind of a person. I don't think twice before doing something.
Right.
And that's maybe, you know, for a lot of people, you know, they feel it's my weakness. But for me, it's my strength. Because હું એકવાર કરી દઉં, એ પછી હું problem solve કરું છું કે આ કેમ નથી ચાલતું, કે શું problem થાય છે હવે.
Right.
Because, you know, as an entrepreneur, your job is solving problems.
Correct.
અને અમારો કોઈ દિવસ એવો નથી જતો લાઈફનો. I'm sure you can agree કે જે દિવસે problems નથી
Now,
આવતા.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's the journey of an entrepreneur. You know, if you don't like that, તો પછી job જ કરો, એ better છે.
Exactly. You just put it on somebody else and go
If
home.
you want to
9 to
enjoy your
5,
weekends, you want to enjoy your time off, you know, then I
Correct.
think it's great to do that job.
Right.
But if you're an entrepreneur, bro, your challenge is you are working 24 hours.
Oh yes.
So-
like 8 a.m. I have to pick up the delivery that comes in. Like I have to give my OTPs and then 2 a.m. I have to give the bank accounts કે ભાઈ બધું settle થયું કે નહીં. So every day, even if like it's been a year and a half since Toroni opened, I only took like 10 days off, literally, and that was just for my R&D. I went to Italy.
Wow.
Just to see that what am I doing exactly, because
Right.
I all I did was in Canada.
Sure.
So but then I figured out
So you
ke-
went to the Mecca of Italian food.
Yes,
The
yes.
Holy Grail.
Oh yes. I went there and I realized that what I'm doing here is top notch for vegetarians.
Wow.
Like everywhere I went, I used to order vegetarian food in Italy, and I figured it's so blend. Just because it's like the cuisine came out of simplicity and poverty.
True.
So they all believe, like in Florence, they don't put even salt in their breads just because it was expensive.
And, you know,
back
guys,
in the-
just to let the audience know that, you know, spice, like he said rightly, it was a very luxurious commodity. So not everyone had access.
Right.
And India actually used to be known for the black pepper,
Correct.
It was, people, travelers from all over the world used to come here. And from what I have read, red chili was brought by the Portuguese
like
traders.
100 years ago.
Absolutely. Couple of 100 years
Yeah.
ago. So we've only started eating the red chili
Chilies.
powder since last
Like-
few 100 years.
Correct,
આપણું બધું ખાવાનું black pepper ના around જ હતું.
Yes, yes, yes.
So Ronil, I want to take this back to the challenges that you faced when you shifted from Canada to Ahmedabad.
Right.
And what were the challenges that you faced to sort of get Toroni going?
To be honest, every other day was a challenge. Like, just cause we survived, one of the reasons was like the public support that we got. But challenges ma getting good ingredients, making people understand that the pizza has to be done without chili flakes and oregano, or there is no ketchup in Italian cuisine. Like, bro, there were times where a customer came in, we like beginning of the restaurant, right? And then everything was we kept I kept it traditional. Okay, bhai, I don't want to have ketchup. Guy blinked it to the restaurant, puts it on the table, and then tosses it up on the pizza. He's like, bro, I cannot have it without the ketchup. So it broke my heart. I was like, no
Yeah.
way, I cannot do this.
But I think, Ronil, you have to respect that as well. And I had a very similar thought process like you, when I
Right.
started Those Bros. My recipes, were very, very sort of, I would say, authentic Tex-Mex.
Correct.
Not authentic Mexican, but authentic Tex-Mex. Because, Tex-Mex cuisine is an American-born Mexican cuisine. Just like Indo-Chinese. Like the Chinese came to Calcutta, back, 100 years ago, and they settled there. And Ajay, the kind of Chinese we eat in India is the Indo-Chinese.
Correct.
Same way, Mexicans, the food that got to America and it got changed, it's called Tex-Mex. So, eventually, once we started, you sort of, as an entrepreneur, have to adapt to
True.
the customer demand. For me, I'm telling it about myself, that I had to adapt, I had to change. Amaro pico salsa, so people liked it a little sweeter. So we did actually adapt to making it a little sweeter.
Correct.
People wanted the food to be a little more spicier. So we gave it a little more zing. So we adapted. And
We
now,
have
of
to.
course, now we have some Indian items on the menu. Like we have paneer butter masala.
Correct.
We just introduced pindi chole. We also, at the non-veg restaurants that we have butter chicken as well. And they're the top sellers. I mean,
Right.
we are in India.
Of course.
And, I sort of never imagined that our Mexican restaurant ma Indian bhi veches. But, we tried it and it worked out great. And, also, this taught me and my thought process that you have to constantly adapt. You cannot get comfortable. And guest is God, like rightly said in the,
Yes.
Hindu scriptures,
Yes.
and what we, live by. So I really feel that as an entrepreneur, it's really important to strike that chord with your customer and understand, what they're looking for, and also adapt at times. I'm not saying that change the entire menu,
Right.
but, have a few items, or like he said, कि ketchup nathi, so maybe I'm not sure if he has ketchup in the restaurant for
I
customers
started
now.
now. I
He did,
started.
yeah. So, this is about being a true entrepreneur. You have to
Correct.
change, you have to adapt.
Make them
and You have
happy.
to respect your customers.
Yes,
You have to
yes.
respect, because there's no one above them. એ લોકો જો રેસ્ટોરન્ટમાં નહીં આવે તો
You're
આપણા
done.
સ્ટાફની આપણા લોકોની રોજી રોટી નહીં ચાલે એના વગર.
Correct. So at some extent, I would say you have to compromise. But to be honest, I only sell food at Toroni which I would like to eat. Here, people in Ahmedabad, I've seen they will have everything on the menu, like this big of a menu from all kind of cuisines they have, and then they don't even know which one is their top seller or whatsoever. Like what particular cuisine is their top seller. So I think after I figured out that people has a little like a palate here in Ahmedabad for Italian cuisine.
Sure.
So that's how I made few minimal changes, but still I'm trying to keep it very traditional. But we do things like now mangoes in the season, so we put on mango panna cotta. We do a little fusion here and there. And to be honest, if you are a chef and owner or what, you don't have rules.
True.
You basically sell whatever you want, right? But at a certain extent, because like if I have an Italian client walking in my
Sure.
in my restaurant, I don't wanna just serve like a makhani pizza or how
True.
mayonnaise on my pizza or whatsoever. So lately we have been seeing too many international clients, and they don't even know English, but they just have good compliments for what I'm doing right now.
Wow.
Just because I'm keeping it very
So
traditional.
there's one pizza recipe that I love, since you brought up the tandoori thing.
Right.
In US, every time I go, there's this one pizza place that I love their butter chicken pizza.
Right.
But you can do it in the paneer version as well.
Right.
It comes with the makhani gravy. And they put the Frank's buffalo hot sauce, you know, from that we put the wings in.
Right.
And then they top it up with like a nice cucumber yogurt. And man, it's delicious, dude. You know, it tastes amazing. So I'm just giving you an idea.
No,
that
of
maybe
course.
if you feel that you want to do this for a special, I think it would be a great menu spin-off.
Yes. I also want to do like makhani raviolis and all kind of stuff. But want to take time, you know, do it like step by step, not just introduce everything at the same place. I also have dreams like you, maybe have 10 different locations around India.
You will, man. You know, I definitely hope that if you do it the way you're going, you know, with being hands-on and, you know, the kind of hard work that you're putting in.
Right.
So I really want to make this a point since you brought this up and I wanted to talk about this in the podcast, that the thing is, guys, that especially I've seen this in India, you know, because, you know, we come from, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs come from good families, you know, where their families are bringing in the money and giving it to the kids. And they feel that that money is going to go to work for them once they invest in and it's going to make them money.
Right.
So I've really seen, you know, people go extremely wrong with that thought process. And I'm so proud of you. And the reason that I wanted, you know, you to be here is because I wanted the young audience to see the kind of hustle that it takes. જે મહેનત તમારે તમારા ધંધાની પાછળ લાગે છે
right.
કે તમારે દિવસના 8 થી 10 કલાક જો તમારા બિઝનેસની પાછળ તમે નહીં આપો તો bro, you are not going to be successful. You're not going to be driving a Range Rover.
Right.
And I really want to embed that in the younger audience કે તમારા બિઝનેસ પર બેઠા વગર no one is going to make you money.
Correct.
So, you know, I see that in you because, you know, you're there at your restaurant, you know, you always, you know, I see the reels, you know, whenever I come to a restaurant, you know, you're always there behind the kitchen. And I feel, bro, that is so important as an entrepreneur, especially in the initial years, that you're building your brand and you're building your concept because you're also identifying your core team. Like, you know, my guys, you know, that started with me, number 1, 2, and 3. Today, all 3 of them are restaurant owners. They all own Dos Bros.
Right.
Because the thing is that if you don't share your pie, you cannot grow to the level that we have come along.
Right.
And the thing is that at some point, you can only afford a certain amount of salary. Then it has to go on a revenue share basis.
Right.
So guys, you know, really important કે મહેનત વગર તમારો success તમને જોવા ક્યારે બી નથી મળવાનો.
Nope.
If you don't put in that hustle.
Right.
So Ronil, you mentioned that you're 25.
Yes.
So I'm sure that the day and age that we are in,
Right.
women and men both would like to know if you're single or not.
I mean, yeah, the people want to know, but there's nothing going on right now. I'm just focused on my career.
So you're available.
Not available also. I am just out of the market.
Too sad then. Because I've met a lot of women, you know, who have a crush on you.
Right.
So I feel like, you know, definitely, you know, you're one of the most eligible bachelors in A-Town.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad to hear this, but yeah, currently just off market, man, because I've dealt with things back in Canada as well. So I just want to take a break.
Sure.
Just focus on work right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Ronil, after a hard day of work
Yes.
and, you know, sweat and blood in the business,
Right.
what is your guilty pleasure? What makes you happy?
Bro, eggs.
Wow.
I eat eggs probably every other night.
I hope you're not cooking them at Toroni.
No, I'm not. We put them in the desserts, but we mentioned that it's in our dessert.
All right.
But I only eat on streets most of the time. Just
So
because
which one is your favorite Hari? Spot?
બહુ બધા છે, but yeah, there's one near Zydus, there's one near Vijay Crossroad, so keeps on changing.
Okay.
It depends on if I'm on a bike, I go to a different place. If I'm on a car, I go to a different place.
Awesome,
Also
man.
Swati.
Swati.
Any day. I love
Swati.
Pani Puri
Me
at
as well, man.
Swati.
You know,
Yeah, I
you know, in
think-
fact, we just ordered food from Swati.
Exactly. So yeah.
But yeah, that's a, you know, that's a no-brainer.
Yes.
You know, you're eating clean.
Correct.
It's nice.
What about you?
For me, bro, my guilty pleasure is, you know, it's more of a dessert.
Right.
Because, you know, I need sugar, you know, when I'm down like that.
Correct.
So mango with sticky rice from Lolo Rosso is my hands down my favorite dessert in town.
Right.
It's healthy.
Okay.
Sometimes I hit the gym and I eat 4 portions of that's my dinner.
Right.
Mango with sticky rice.
Okay,
So it's an odd combination, but
Okay.
it's my favorite. I'm very well acquainted with Thai food and Asian cuisines.
Correct.
So I came across it, and I'm not big into chocolates and very sweet sweets.
Right.
Even if you come at the creamery, my ice creams, have a very less compared to other other places. It has a low amount of sugar.
Correct.
So I feel like you're able to consume more.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, that's pretty much my favorite. But I think my go-to meal, if you're asking, would be butter chicken and roti. That's my go-to meal. That's my
Right.
comfort food. If
Right,
I'm, long day, if I'm hungry, if I'm starving, if I'm hungover, butter chicken is the answer.
You need to try my butter chicken.
Oh,
I
bro,
was
I
a
would-
runner-up in my college for
Oh,
butter
dude,
chicken.
man,
yeah.
that's amazing. Wow,
So,
that's
yeah.
my favorite dish as well that I cook the best.
Okay.
It's butter chicken or the paneer butter masala, but it's
Okay.
mainly the makhani gravy.
Right.
So that is one of my favorite items and my signature dishes as well. So, let me ask you, I want to ask you, before we wrap this up, what is an advice that you would like to give a 17-year-old Ronil Patel?
Right.
What would you tell him?
I would say just never say no, to be honest. Like, even if it's any kind of job, just don't say no. There was a time when, like, me and my sister, we both were in Canada and she couldn't do it. At some point, she moved back within 6 months only, just because she gave up.
Sure.
So, like, if you have a motive or if you are doing something, do it for like all in, never say no for the slightest inconvenience. I think that's my advice. And then the world will put everything together for you.
Awesome, man.
Would you like to
That's-
share yours as well?
Mine, Ronald, my advice to the entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs is always been love the numbers. You have to love your numbers.
Correct.
No matter, what industry you are in. If it is fashion, if it is food, if it is construction, if it is marketing, having track of your numbers and looking at your numbers and falling in love with them, your bank account and everything, I think has been the key for me.
Correct.
And, I've been really fortunate, and so have you been, to actually love something that we do. So, make your passion your profession if you can. Not
100%.
everyone's fortunate,
Yes.
but I would definitely advise youngsters to go and do things and study and research and do your PhDs in things that you are passionate about and something you love. Because it's really hard. It's going to be really hard on the long run. You might jump in for the money, but it's going to be really hard to keep yourself motivated every day. Once you achieved a certain target and once you are somewhere in your life where you're financially independent. So I don't have to push myself every day. I just love what I do.
Correct.
I can live a comfortable life and retire or, be, I don't really need to work every day.
Right.
But the reason that I keep on pushing myself is because I love what I do and I want to keep on introducing new concepts that I learn on my travel, on my trips going abroad, and want to keep bringing them to India and introducing them to my youth.
Correct.
So, I think that would be my advice to my, to the audience, that's going to look at our conversation.
Right. No, great piece of advice, man.
Thank you. So, bro, where do you see yourself in next 10 years?
I think I see myself similar to you.
Sure.
Probably, where as you mentioned that you don't have any working days or you mostly all of your days are week offs.
True.
So maybe in 10-15 years I just want to cook for the needies or like not worry about the money or just have people have a good time whenever they are with me, but it's all around food basically.
Wow. Amazing, man.
So that's
that is
the
great
plan.
because you know what, that actually happens to be my end goal as well.
Right.
I want to work up a formula because whatever I have earned or whatever I am in my life, it's because of food.
Correct.
And I want to give it back through the medium of food back to the society.
Exactly.
So my dream is to have a self-sustaining restaurant where it can feed at least a few hundred people every day, every single day, even if I'm alive or if I'm not. I would still want that restaurant to go on.
Correct.
So that I feel like, in next 10 years, I feel like, I'll probably want to work on some formula that I can come up with.
Right.
Like it can be self-sustaining and people can donate as and when they want. And we can keep on churning and serving at least 500 to 1,000 people every day for free who are needy.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Our goals align in
Maybe
that
someday we'll do
manner,
it together.
very much.
Yes.
And, also I want to sort of, see my team thriving as well. Like I just don't want to win alone.
Correct.
I want my boys, my
Exactly.
clique, my friends, my family, people around me, my team to also become multimillionaires.
Correct.
Because this day and age, I think,
course.
everything is measured in money.
Money, 100%.
So, yeah, being a multimillionaire, for my team as well,
Yes.
that I'm hanging out with, I would love for them to be successful
Exactly.
and enjoy that success with everyone.
Yes. No, that's how basically I also keep my team intact. So whosoever is like been with me for a year already, I show them that they are the next regional manager of Toroni, or they are something, or they are
And
gonna
we
be...
all need to be rewarded. At
Exactly.
some point or other,
Yes.
we all need to be rewarded.
I was never rewarded in Canada, bro. I was
get it.
always backlashed.
Yeah. But that's what you learned. You learned that, because you failed as an employee with the company.
Yes.
And you learned what not to do when you become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So that journey in itself is so important.
It is 100%.
That if you don't go through that hustle,
Yes.
you are not going to be able to get to the epitome of the potential that you have being successful.
Yes.
And you're not going to be able to hang on to that success for a
Correct.
long time as well.
Yes.
So that I feel is really important as an entrepreneur to sort of go through that hustle and embrace your failures. Because even for me, if I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me failing over and over again.
Of course,
And,
man.
I'm really thankful. And even today, I embrace my failures with both hands. Because I'm a seeker. I want to keep on learning. And that is the reason I love interacting with people, who are 15, 20, 18, 25, 40, 50,
Right.
60, 70. I have friends all the way up to 70. That I'm learning wisdom about life,
Right.
about relationships, about investments from the elder ones. I'm learning about social media, music, fashion from the younger ones.
Right.
So I think it keeps me dated in a way, staying in touch with everyone and not being judgmental.
True.
And, being able to have a conversation with even younger people and the older ones. And I feel like, once you have that exposure of living abroad and living away from your family, only that can teach you.
Only that
and
can teach you, yes.
make you able to appreciate humans around you.
True.
And what people mean.
Oh, yeah.
Because for us as entrepreneurs, it begins and ends with people.
True.
We are nothing without people.
Exactly.
If we really look at it on a micro level, we would not be sitting here if it wasn't for our team or the people around us.
Yes.
So, there's also a great book on it, and, there's a very successful entrepreneur, who's written, life, regarding, it's how it's based on how human management.
Right.
Chef Brown, bro, thank you so much for taking time out
Of course, bhai.
and, having a really hearty conversation.
Of course.
I feel like, dude, the more I talk to you, the more similarities I keep on finding
Yes.
in terms of our life and our journey. And man, it was amazing, for you to take time out, from your busy schedule and come down because, this was my first one and I didn't know how it's going to go. But I
course.
hope people are going to enjoy this.
Yes. No,
And,
the day you asked me like about, I didn't even think about it for a second. Or I'm like, why not, bro? Let's do it.
No, thank you.
Because
Thank you so
have
much.
been an inspiration to me as well. By what you do is crazy.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Really humbled to hear that. So, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have.
Yes.
And I hope after this, listening to us, you are going to go run and come and grab a bite at Toroni or Dos Bros or the
Yes.
Bros Creamery. Please come and support us, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking time out and listening to us.
Thank you, guys. Ciao.